Hi, I'm Kathy Cassidy, and today we're going to be talking about female sex offenders. I thought it was time to go ahead and post a video on this topic since I just posted one about how to know if you're dating a pedophile, which insinuated men. And I want to make it really, really clear that I am well aware from working with female sex offenders that they're out there. Um, I did read today in the news something that said female sex offenders are on the rise. And what really struck me is that I totally disagree. I don't think female sex offenders are on the rise. I think that they're being confronted more and they're having consequences more than they ever were before. And I also think society as a whole is just losing its tolerance of keeping these secrets for all of these pedophiles, and people are starting to come forward and press charges. And so I don't think females are a new breed. I think they've always been there. So I want to talk with you about who are female sex offenders. Just they're not really that different than the male sex offenders. Who are they? They're mothers who molest their babies and children and sell their children for drugs. They are teachers, which we see in the news regularly. They are coaches, male and female coaches, but there are female coaches who molest their female students or their male students. The female sex offenders are just like the males. They rape boys and girls. Usually they have a preference. I would say if I was to give any sort of a profile for a female offender, I would say that probably they are lonely women. Inside, they may not appear lonely. They may be in the community, they may be attractive, but inside they are lonely. They're lacking companionship. Mostly, what I want people to really hear for females, this is for men too, is they are emotionally very immature. And same thing with the pedophiles that I did in the last one with the guys. They connect with kids. The ones that you see with these teachers having what they call inappropriate relationships, which is actually sexual abuse, and I wish they would start calling a spade a spade. So it's sexual abuse. So when a teacher is sexually abusing a teenage boy or a pre-adolescent boy, those teachers, just like the guys, they feel a connection with these boys. And the only people that could feel that kind of an emotional connection and sexual attraction are people that are emotionally immature. They haven't developed past that age themselves. So even though they have the body, the brain, maybe the career, maybe the lifestyle of an adult, their brain is still, 10, 12, 13, 14. They prefer to be with children. And sometimes it's because of the emotional connection. Sometimes it's because they don't feel judged like they would feel by someone their own age. So I think loneliness, lacking companionship, emotional immaturity, and I don't mean like silliness. I mean they haven't developed emotionally, and you'll watch them with kids, and they'll even like gravitate towards the kids, and they get this reputation for being sometimes, not all of them, great with kids. Hang on, sorry, forgive. But it's because they connect with them. All right. So what happens naturally when there's an emotional connection, the sexual attraction can build, and then in comes them, which is also still called grooming, what the female teachers are doing to the boys or girls that they're molesting. It is a grooming process, and then in comes the physical abuse, the sexual abuse. And then these kids think that this person loves them. And then somewhere along the line, parents find text messages, or someone catches, a picture of someone naked somewhere along the line, and they get caught. Now this child is devastated because they think that this person who supposedly loved them, which is such a sick love that this adult has, and then it's the first or one of the earliest loves that that child has outside of their family. So causes a lot of future damage for what love is, and then it wrecks trusting, your adult people in your life. So female sex offenders can be anybody, just like a man. They can be in the religious community, they can be wealthy, they can be poor, they can be any socioeconomic, any religion. The thing about female sex offenders is that people don't suspect them like they do men, because females are thought to be very motherly and very nurturing and very safe. So I don't think that women get that suspicion sometimes that men get just off the bat. So females go under the radar much, much more. And then with our society telling males that from day one of their birth, really, they are sexualized, and they're supposed to be, even when they're little 2, 3, if a little girl likes them, oh, it's your girlfriend, and we tend to, not me, because I think that's totally wrong, it's sexualizing them and making boys think that they need to feel grateful or honored if any female shows them any attention physically. And whether it's their friends' moms, their friends' sisters, the teacher, it's always thought of as they should feel lucky or honored. And I still see grown men on sites that I'm a part of saying that a boy is lucky when he got raped by a woman. That disgusts me beyond no belief. Oh my God. Boys need to have the exact same honor for their body and privacy for their body that girls do. And female offenders, when they're abusing boys, it should never be thought of as lucky. I don't know how that has happened, but it needs to change. So this is a problem when if it's a female offender molesting a boy, boys are less likely to come forward because society, it keeps telling them they should be honored. So there's this really mixed message inside of them of, should I tell if I'm supposed to be lucky and everyone thinks it's great? Therefore, anger builds within them and all sorts of things that lead into drugs in the criminal system and just seething feelings of anger. And that's with the boys. I don't have a lot. I know it happens with females molesting female girls. I don't have a lot in the teenage area that I can speak on fairly, but I can speak on the female sex offenders molesting their infants, which is what I have worked with women who have done that. They do like to blame their husband or boyfriend and say that they made them do it, or they wanted them to do it, or they did it as a gift to their boyfriend or for their boyfriend or husband. But they need to be accountable. They are the ones that did it. So there are a lot of kids that are molested by females, and some are violently raped. Some are mothers raping their own boys well into their adult life, believe it or not. And it needs to be reported more. And it's just a very scary thing for a child to report anyone, let alone their mother. Female cousins, just within the family, the females are equally, there is really almost zero difference for the female sex offenders. It's the female cousins, the sisters, babysitters. I have another video on babysitters. There, I have worked with many men who have reported to me that their female teenage babysitter molested them time and time again throughout their childhood. And some very strange kind of violent things mixed in. I did hear a lot of. I'm not saying every one of them do that, but so female babysitters, sisters, friends, sisters, My point to you guys is that there is nobody is off limits, no matter what their job is, no matter what if they're a male or a female, no matter what, if they're rich or poor. Nothing can stop somebody from, if somebody is an offender, there is nobody that is isolated and say that we can say, oh, that person, that group of people would never. It just doesn't exist anymore. And the media shows us each day how, priests and all sorts of people are, that we would never have suspected 20 years ago, have just come out of the woodwork with being abusers. So that's what I wanted to share with you on females. And I hope that the boys, for the parents, please raise your boys. I'll do another video on male victims. But raise your boys the same way you would raise your girls, with the same amount of respect and privacy that they deserve for their own bodies and for their own brains. And check in with them the same way you would your girls. Be very careful who you trust them with. Diaper changing, bathing, exactly the same for your boys. Protect your boys. That's why I always say at the end of my videos, protect your babies. They both need to be protected. Men and women can be sex offenders equally. So be careful and, again, protect your babies. Thanks for listening.